Part 1, Echoes of the Void. Space is a bad therapist. You think you're having a good day until the universe slaps you with a malfunctioning oxygen scrubber. That's exactly how my day started aboard the freighter, *lonely wanderer*. I was alone on the bridge, sipping a cup of synth coffee that tasted like liquefied despair, when my console started spitting red alerts like it was trying to tell me a particularly offensive joke. The Wanderer wasn't just any freighter, she was a rust bucket with character. The kind of ship that kept flying purely out of stubbornness, much like her captain, me. My name's Kael Thorne. I wasn't born cynical. I just learned from experience that optimism and vacuum don't mix well. As I leaned over to silence the blaring alarms, the comm channel cracked to life. "Kael, are you seeing this?" It was my engineer, Tessa, her voice like sandpaper dipped in honey. Always a delight. "Yeah, Tess, oxygen scrubber, acting up again. Just another day in paradise." I chuckled drily, already heading for the maintenance hatch. "Not that, I'm talking about the sky. Have you looked out a window lately?" she retorted, her tone a mix of frustration and awe. I stopped mid-stride, curiosity piqued. "Can't say I have. Been too busy praying to the machine spirits. What's out there?" "Just get up here." Her voice was more insistent now. That wasn't a request. I made my way to the observation deck, my boots echoing on the metal grating. The Wanderer was a maze of corridors that smelled of burnt circuits and nostalgia. When I finally got to the deck, the view was, well, let's just say it wasn't on my bingo card. We were orbiting a planet-sized structure, a colossal relic from a civilization long faded into cosmic dust. It looked like a braid of titanic metal tendrils, each twisting intricately around the other. Light pulsed along its length, casting an eerie glow that painted our freighter in shades of mystery and menace. "Looks like we stumbled onto someone's overambitious garden sculpture," I muttered, trying to mask the awe creeping into my voice. Tessa appeared beside me, her wild red hair framing a face that could never decide if it wanted to smirk or scowl. "Think it's dangerous?" "Probably," I replied, grinning despite myself. "But since when has that stopped us?" Before we could debate the level of our insanity further, the console lit up again. This time, not with alarms but with the unmistakable signature of an approaching vessel. And wouldn't you know it, it was one of those sleek, military-style frigates, the Resolute, barreling through the inky black towards us. "Military here." Tessa's brows knit into a neat, worried line. Her eyes flicked to the external sensors, scanning for any hint of hostility. "Either they're lost or we're in the wrong neighborhood," I quipped, my mind already racing through 100 possible scenarios. None of them good. The frigate slid gracefully into view, its hull a polished obsidian that drank in the light and spat out intimidation in return. A crackle over the comms, followed by a voice that could warm ice caps. "This is Commander Janus of the Resolute *. State your business in this sector." "We're civilian," I replied, injecting as much charm into my tone as a scoundrel like me could muster. "Just passing through. Picked up this structure on our sensors and decided to give it a look-see. Advise you to keep your distance. This area is under investigation due to recent anomalies." Commander Janus wasn't buying what I was selling, but then again, I didn't expect him to. "Anomalies," I parroted, all innocence. "Now you've piqued my interest, like what?" There was a pause, the kind that suggests someone is either weighing their words or trying not to curse. "Unexplained disappearances. Ships going dark. I suggest you move along." "Appreciate the advice, Commander. We'll be sure to steer clear," I lied through my teeth, because nothing ignites the spirit of adventure like a cautionary tale. The comms clicked off and Tessa shot me a sidelong glance. "You're going closer, aren't you?" Of course, I grinned, already plotting our approach. You think I bought this ship to follow rules? The Wanderer's engines hummed beneath us as we glided towards the structure. The closer we got, the more I felt an inexplicable pull, like someone had hooked my curiosity and was reeling it in hand over fist. As we neared, Tessa ran a scan, getting some crazy readings. There's a dense energy field surrounding it. Could be why those ships went missing. Or it could be guarding something valuable, I mused, my mind a merry-go-round of possibilities. Yet just as we were about to breach the field, the ship's power flickered. Lights dimmed, consoles restarted, and the sweet, familiar voice of panic rose in my throat. What the? Tessa clutched the nearest console, her eyes wide with alarm. We're being pulled in. The Wanderer lurched, engine strain. Ing as the field dragged us towards the metal labyrinth. Alarms blared once more, their shrill cries an unwelcome soundtrack to our imminent doom. Hold on, I yelled, fighting the controls, but it was useless. We were caught in a force beyond our reckoning, spiraling helplessly into the heart of the structure. The last thing I saw before darkness swallowed us was the frigate hovering impotently beyond the energy field, a bystander to our unfolding fate. And then nothing. I awoke to a silence thick as oil, broken only by the distant thrum of the Wanderer's systems struggling back to life. Tessa groaned nearby, picking herself off the floor. Kael, what just happened? I rubbed my aching head, my mind a fog of confusion and dread. I think we've been invited. The silence returned, stretching between us like the void itself. Outside, the universe was waiting, patient and implacable. Welcome aboard, I muttered to no one in particular. The adventure had begun. Part 2, Shadows of the Past. The interior of the colossal structure was nothing like I expected. Gone were the cold metal tendrils we saw from the outside, replaced by a vast chamber that felt eerily organic, like the ribcage of some ancient beast. Bioluminescent veins snaked along the walls, pulsing with a rhythm I could almost hear in the back of my mind. Tessa and I stood awestruck, amidst the swirling mists that pooled around our feet, colored like sunsets on distant worlds. The Wanderer lay behind us, nestled snugly in the embrace of this inexplicable place, as if parked for a cosmic pit stop. Looks like we've landed in an alien funhouse, I quipped, trying to shake off the unease gnawing at my gut. A funhouse with a tendency to suck ships into its belly, Tessa retorted, her eyes scanning the surroundings with a mix of wonder and wariness. As we moved through the chamber, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were not alone. The air hummed with a latent energy, charged with an intelligence that watched us from the shadows, curious yet aloof. So, any ideas what we're dealing with? I asked, hoping Tessa's engineering genius might shed some light on our predicament. Not a clue, she admitted, the corners of her mouth twitching up. But whatever it is, it's older than anything I've seen. Pre-galactic, maybe, and clearly not abandoned. Great, I muttered. What's an adventure without a little existential dread? We stumbled upon a passageway, its entrance framed by intricate carvings that defied logic with their alien beauty. Tentatively, we stepped inside, drawn by a faint, enticing glow further along. The corridor twisted and turned, the walls alive with shifting patterns that seemed to react to our presence. I reached out, fingertips brushing against the surface. The contact sent a jolt through my arm, a rush of warmth and familiarity so intense I had to step back. Did you feel that? I asked, my voice barely a whisper in the charged air. Tessa nodded, eyes wide. It's like it knows us or wants to know us. Before we could ponder the implications, a low rumble reverberated through the structure, followed by the unmistakable sound of alien voices. They were like whispers carried by a gentle breeze, indecipherable yet oddly comforting. "Okay, this is officially weird," I said, forcing a laugh that came out shaky and uncertain. "I mean, technically, we're trespassing." We rounded a final corner and emerged into a cavernous hall filled with floating platforms, each supporting an array of shimmering crystals. The crystals emitted soft, melodic chimes, a symphony of light and sound that danced through the air. "Some kind of control center," Tessa suggested, her mind already racing with possibilities. I nodded, though my thoughts were focused more on the potential dangers than the marvels surrounding us. And if it's a control center, someone or something is in charge. As if on cue, a figure stepped out from behind a pillar and my heart skipped a beat. It wasn't the alien silhouette I expected, but a man wearing the uniform of an old Earth colony, the insignia faded with time. "Kael Thorne," he said, his voice that of a ghost dragged out from the past. "I'd say welcome, but you've been here before." His words hit me like a hammer. Memories I didn't know I had came flooding back, images of this place, moments of fear and exhilaration. "Who are you?" I demanded, struggling to reconcile his presence with the reality of our situation. "Name S. Dr. Elias Shaw," he replied, his expression a mix of bemusement and sympathy. "You've been here many times, Kael. Each time is the first for you, but not for the structure. It remembers." "Remembers," Tessa echoed, her gaze flicking between us. "What's going on, Kael?" I don't know," I admitted, my voice thin, but something deep inside whispered otherwise. "Shaw, what is this place?" "A relic of the old ones," Shaw explained, his tone reverent. "A nexus of knowledge and exploration. It seeks minds to unlock its secrets, a task you've undertaken more times than you can recall." "Recurring amnesia with a side of cosmic entrapment," I mused, trying to mask my growing unease with humor. "Sounds like a nightmare." Shaw's expression softened into something almost like friendship. "It is a trial, but also an opportunity. You can break the cycle, Kael, if you choose to embrace what the structure offers." "What about the ships, the disappearances?" I pressed, the enormity of our predicament settling over me like a shroud. "Collateral, I'm afraid," Shaw said with a sigh. "The structure is selective in its awakening. Those who cannot engage are lost." The weight of his words hung heavy in the air, a stark choice presented with brutal clarity. Understanding flickered in Tessa's eyes, a shared determination lighting up her face. "So, what's the play, Kael?" I looked around, the alien symphony resonating within me, reminding me of both the fragility and resilience of existence. "We engage," I said finally, my decision echoing with resolve. "One way or another, we find a way to end this." As we began to explore the platforms, the crystals responded to our presence, their light brighter, the melodies more urgent. Despite the tension crackling around us, I felt a strange sense of belonging, as if this place was finally letting me into its mystery. Our adventure was just beginning, and the shadows of the past were closing in, promising revelations I could scarcely imagine. Part 3: The Pulse of Eternity. The moment I decided to engage with the structure, the atmosphere around us shifted. The air buzzed with a palpable anticipation, as if the relic itself was holding its breath. I felt a tingling at the back of my neck, a connection to something vast and incomprehensible. As Tessa and I moved between the floating platforms, the crystals continued their symphony, a harmonious blend of light and sound that seemed to guide us deeper into the heart of the megastructure. Dr. Shaw, ghostly and enigmatic, followed at a distance, watching with an expression of hope mixed with apprehension. Ever get the feeling you're a lab rat in someone else's experiment? I quipped, trying to keep the mood light despite the gravity of our situation. Tessa shot me a look, half amused, half exasperated. I'm just waiting for the cheese at the end of the maze. We reached a central platform, larger and more complex than the others. Here, the crystals formed an intricate web, their glow pulsating with a rhythm that matched my heartbeat. I hesitated, feeling the weight of the structure's ancient gaze. "Touch it, Kael," Shaw urged, breaking the silence with an urgency that matched the pulse around us. "Let it know you're ready." I took a deep breath, reaching out with fingers that trembled just slightly. The moment my hand brushed the crystal lattice, a surge of energy shot through me, a torrent of images and sensations, memories from lifetimes I never lived but somehow remembered. I was there among the stars, witnessing the birth of galaxies. I felt the weight of decisions that shaped civilizations long gone, their echoes rippling through time. I saw faces I recognized, a tapestry of connections binding me to something greater. I staggered back, overwhelmed. Tessa caught my arm, concern etched on her face. "Kael, are you okay? What did you see?" "Everything," I whispered, struggling to put the enormity into words. "It's like I've been part of this place, part of a cycle that spans eons." She nodded, her eyes filled with a mixture of fear and understanding. "Then how do we end it?" Before I could answer, the room shuddered, as if the structure itself was wrestling with our presence. The crystals flared, their glow reaching a blinding crescendo. And then the platform beneath us began to descend, carrying us deeper into the unknown. "Hold on," I shouted, grabbing onto the nearest handhold as the wind whipped around us. The descent was rapid and disorienting, the light from the crystals blurring into streaks across my vision. But amidst the chaos, I felt a sense of purpose. The structure was guiding us to its core, the place where answers and perhaps redemption awaited. We emerged into a vast chamber that could only be described as the heart of the relic. Here, the architecture was both alien and familiar, a confluence of styles and technologies from countless civilizations. At the center lay a pulsating orb, its light a kaleidoscope of colors and emotions. "This is it," Shaw whispered, his voice reverent, "the Nexus." "Looks like the universe's most elaborate disco ball," I muttered, trying to mask my awe with humor. But there was no denying the significance of this place. The Nexus was alive, its presence a soothing hum that resonated with a wisdom as old as the stars. I felt it reach out to me, a gentle caress of understanding and acceptance. "You're part of this, Kael," Shaw said, his gaze locked on the orb. "You always have been." As his words sunk in, the chamber was suddenly filled with movement. Shadows detached from the walls, coalescing into shapes that defied logic. They were the aliens the structure remembered, the old ones or their echoes, come to witness our moment of truth. The realization hit me like a physical blow. This was the final test, the point of no return. We had to prove our worth, our intentions, if we were to unlock the structure's secrets and find a way home. Tessa stepped forward, her face a mask of determination. "What do we do?" "We connect," I replied, the answer coming from a place deep inside. "We show them we're willing to become part of this." I reached out once more, this time with Tessa's hand in mine, our fingers interlaced as we touched the orb together. The energy that flowed through us was both gentle and exhilarating, a fusion of our thoughts and dreams with the collective consciousness of the relic. The shadows paused as if assessing our bond, and then slowly they began to dissipate, their approval a silent benediction. The Nexus responded, its light embracing us, a promise of new beginnings. As the chamber quieted, I knew we had passed the test. The structure was ours to understand, to explore. But more importantly, we had found a way forward, a path that didn't just lead home, but expanded the very boundaries of what home could mean. We stood there hand in hand as the universe unfolded its story around us, a tale of eternal cycle, ease and infinite connections. The adventure was far from over, but for the first time I felt ready to face whatever lay ahead. Part 4: The Tides of Fate. As the Nexus glowed dimmed, leaving a gentle luminescence in its wake, the chamber around us seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. I released Tessa's hand, feeling a profound sense of connection not just to her, but to the vast tapestry we had become a part of. It was comforting, like finding a familiar warmth in the embrace of the unknown. "Well, that was something," Tessa said, her voice tinged with awe and a hint of disbelief. "Think we've made some new friends. Or they think we're the universe's most fascinating experiment," I replied, the corners of my mouth twitching upwards. "Shaw, what now?" Dr. Shaw stepped forward, his eyes reflecting the light of the Nexus, his expression one of fulfillment. "Now you learn. The structure has opened itself to you, a library of knowledge and experiences shared across the ages. You can chart a course home or wherever your heart desires." Or, I mused, rubbing my chin theatrically, we could just open a cosmic coffee shop. Imagine the clientele. "Let's focus on getting out of here first, Kael," Tessa interjected, her tone a mix of amusement and urgency. As if responding to her words, the Nexus projected an array of holographic displays around us, each representing a different aspect of the structure's capabilities. It was like having the universe at our fingertips, a dazzling array of possibilities just waiting to be explored. One display caught my eye, its symbols shifting into a pattern that felt almost familiar. A star map, but not one I recognized, or so I thought. It took a moment to realize it showed not just the local cluster, but connections across dimensions, threads weaving in and out of realities. "Is this a gateway?" Tessa asked, her fingers brushing the display, causing it to react and expand. "It's more than that," Shaw replied. "It's a means to traverse the multiverse, a portal to different realities, each with its own stories and secrets." "Well, that's not at all intimidating," I muttered, though the prospect was undeniably thrilling. An itch at the back of my mind suggested this wasn't just an opportunity, but a calling. Before we could delve deeper, a tremor rippled through the chamber, a reminder that our sanctuary was still part of a living, breathing entity. The Nexus pulsed urgently, its light flickering in warning. "What's happening?" Tessa asked, alarm creeping into her voice. "Something's destabilizing the field around us," Shaw said, his brow furrowed in concentration. "We need to stabilize the structure or risk being ejected into the void." "Ejected into the void. Really not on my vacation itinerary," I quipped, though my heart raced with the urgency of the situation. Working quickly, we interfaced with the displays, the Nexus guiding us through its intricate systems. Yet as we struggled to maintain equilibrium, a new presence made itself known, a ripple of intelligence that swept through the chamber like a digital tide. It was an alien intelligence, different from the old ones yet equally ancient, a presence that communicated not with words but with emotions and images. It was curious, intrigued by us, but also wary, like a sentinel guarding its domain. "Hello there," I murmured, more to myself than anyone else. The presence responded with a swirl of colors and sensations, its message simple yet profound: harmony. "It wants to work with us," Tessa said, her eyes wide with understanding. "We just need to show we mean no harm." Together, we projected our intentions into the ether, a symphony of thoughts and promises that resonated within the chamber. The presence accepted, its energy merging with the nexus to steady the fragile balance. With a final surge, the tremors ceased, the chamber stabilizing around us as the nexus returned to its gentle glow. Relief washed over me, mingled with gratitude towards the unseen force that had aided us. "Well, that was close," I said, exhaling slowly. "Guess we've made more friends than we thought." The Nexus presented another array of options, the paths it offered now clearer, more defined. We could return to known space, explore the multiverse, or delve deeper into the structure's secrets. Tessa looked at me, her expression a mixture of excitement and trepidation. "So, Captain, what's our next move?" I pondered the question, feeling the weight of countless possibilities. Yet instead of daunting me, they filled me with a renewed sense of adventure, a thirst for discovery that would not be quenched by simple choices. "We explore," I decided, the words resonating with a certainty I hadn't expected. "We see what's out there, we find the paths less traveled." With a gesture, I activated the map, the Nexus responding by illuminating a route that shimmered with potential. And with Tessa and Shaw by my side, we began our next voyage, ready to embrace the tides of fate and whatever lay beyond the horizon. The universe was vast and waiting, and for the first time I felt that we were truly a part of it, explorers charting not just the stars, but the very fabric of reality itself. Part 5, Through the Veil ***. We set a course through the multiverse, a journey not bound by the usual constraints of matter and distance. The Nexus, our enigmatic guide, presented us with paths woven through the very fabric of reality, each shimmering with possibilities. The Wanderer, now more than a freighter, was equipped with an understanding beyond its original design, a symbiotic link with the structure that allowed us to sail between worlds. Tessa, ever the pragmatist, had cobbled together a new interface, a kaleidoscope of alien tech and good old-fashioned human ingenuity. "Ready for the ride of a lifetime?" she asked, her fingers gliding over the controls with practiced ease. "If this doesn't end with us as cosmic jelly, I'll consider it a success," I replied, strapping in as the engines hummed with a newfound vitality. Shaw stood nearby, his expression that of a child on the cusp of a grand adventure. With a nod, I gave Tessa the go-ahead, and the Wanderer leaped forward, punching through the veil that separated realities. The sensation was indescribable, a simultaneous fracturing and unification of consciousness that left my mind reeling. The universe unfolded around us, a tapestry of colors and sensations flowing past in a dizzying rush. Each thread was a potential reality, a world within a world flickering just beyond reach. It was beautiful and terrifying, a reminder of the vastness we were swimming through. As the chaos of transition subsided, we found ourselves in a realm that defied simple description. The sky was a vast ocean of swirling energies, stars and planets drifting by like islands in a sea of light. Gravity's pull was gentle, the air a symphony of ethereal sounds that tickled the edges of perception. "Welcome to the in-between," Shaw announced, his voice filled with awe. "The place where paths converge and diverge." "What exactly are we looking at?" Tessa asked, her eyes wide with wonder. "This is a nexus between worlds," Shaw explained. "The hub of a wheel with spokes reaching out to countless dimensions, a place where reality bends and blends." "Sounds like a cosmic hangout," I quipped, though the wonder in my voice was genuine. Here, amidst the swirling energies, I sensed the presence of countless minds, each on their own journey through the multiverse. As we navigated this ephemeral space, a signal caught our attention, a beacon broadcasting a distress call in a language that resonated with shared memory. It was a plea for help, a voice of desperation cutting through the cosmic noise. "Do we answer?" Tessa asked, her fingers poised above the controls. "We didn't come all this way just to ignore a call for help," I replied, my decision instinctive. "Let's see what's out there." Following the signal, we descended towards a solitary world drifting on the edge of the in-between. It was a planet wrapped in mist, its surface a landscape of crystalline structures that shimmered in the ambient light. The distress call had led us here, to a place both wondrous and unknown. As the wanderer touched down, the mists parted to reveal a scene of chaos. A settlement sprawled across the landscape, its architecture a testament to alien craftsmanship, but now it lay in ruins, overwhelmed by a force unseen. "This wasn't just a natural disaster," Tessa observed, her gaze scanning the horizon. "Something tore through here with purpose." We disembarked cautiously, the ground beneath our feet resonating with a faint hum, as if echoing the cries of the fallen. The air was thick with the scent of ozone and something bittersweet, a reminder of the lives disrupted by the calamity. It wasn't long before we encountered the source of the distress call, a group of survivors huddled amidst the remnants of their world. They were unlike any species I had seen, their forms shifting like light on water, voices a harmony of tones that hinted at both fear and hope. One stepped forward, a being whose presence spoke of leadership and resilience. Its voice reached out, a ripple of sound and emotion that transcended language. "You've come. We didn't know if anyone could hear us." "We heard," I replied, stepping forward with Tessa and Shaw at my side. "What happened here?" The leader's form flickered, its colors dimming with the weight of memory. "A force from beyond the veil, a predator of realities. It came suddenly, tearing through our world with hunger and malice." "A predator," Tessa repeated, her tone skeptical yet intrigued. "What does it want?" "Energy, life, existence itself," the leader replied, its voice a somber melody. "We have resisted as best we can, but our strength wanes." The gravity of their plight settled over us, the weight of a choice looming. To stay and help, risking our own safety, or to move on, leaving them to their fate. But I knew deep down that we were here for a reason, a chance to make a difference, to stand against the tide of destruction. "We'll help," I said, the W. Ords leaving no room for doubt. "Tell us what we can do." The leader's form brightened, hope rekindled in the depths of its being. Together, we would face the predator, an entity of shadow and hunger. And in doing so, we would learn more about ourselves, about the interconnectedness of realities, and the power of unity in the face of the unknown. As we prepared for the challenge ahead, I felt the eyes of the multiverse upon us, a reminder that even in the in-between, where worlds collide, hope and courage could light the way. The adventure was far from over, and our story, unfinished, continued to unfold with every step. Part 6: Beyond the Edge. The world we had landed on was a place of broken beauty. The crystalline structures that rose from the ground were breathtaking, refracting light into rainbows that danced across the ruins. But beneath the surface, I could feel the tension, the invisible scars left by the predator that had ravaged this realm. The survivors, ethereal and fragile as mist, led us to their makeshift command center, a structure cobbled together from the remnants of their civilization. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of incense and desperation, an odd mix that filled the senses. The leader we had spoken to, their form shifting with subtle emotions, introduced themselves as Vala, the guide and voice of their people. "We have little time," Vala said, their voice a symphony of urgency. "The predator will return, and its hunger is insatiable." "We'll need to understand what we're up against," Tessa said, her mind already whirring through potential strategies. "Any weaknesses?" Vala paused, their form flickering with thought. It preys on energy, draws sustenance from it, but it recoils from harmonies, sounds, and frequencies that disrupt its pattern. A song, I asked, raising an eyebrow. We're going to fight it with a melody. Vala dipped slightly, a gesture I took for a nod. A melody, yes. Combined with the energy of our world, it could create a barrier, a shield to drive it back. So we need to rig up an interdimensional boombox, I quipped, earning a chuckle from Tessa. She was already pulling up schematics on her portable device, her fingers a blur of motion. The Wanderer's systems were suddenly more than just a freighter's array of outdated tech. With Tessa's modifications and the resources of this alien world, we began constructing what could only be described as a harmonizer, a device that would blend sound and energy into a defensive shield. As we worked, the survivors lent their aid, their forms shimmering with the light of their crystalline home. Shaw, ever the bridge between worlds, moved among them with a calm assurance, his presence a balm to their fear. The hours slipped by, and as the mists thickened outside, an uneasy anticipation settled over us. The predator's return was imminent, its presence a shadow stretching across our borrowed time. Finally, our device was ready, a creation as much of magic as science, a testament to the unity of disparate minds. It thrummed with potential, waiting for the right moment to unleash its power. "Here they come," Tessa said, peering through the translucent wall of the command center. In the distance, the mists boiled, a darkness rising from the depths of the world. The predator emerged from the haze, a swirling mass of shadow and malice, its form twisting with the agony of a starved beast. It was a thing of nightmares, its presence a void that threatened to swallow all light and hope. "We stand together," Vala declared, their voice resonant with determination. The survivors gathered, their forms pulsing in unison, a choir of light and sound. As the predator advanced, I triggered the harmonizer. A wave of energy erupted from the device, a barrier of sound that rippled across the landscape. It was a melody of defiance, a song woven from the heartbeats of countless beings united in purpose. The predator recoiled, its form distorting as it collided with the barrier. It writhed and howled, a cacophony of fury and desperation that echoed across the crystal plains. But the harmonizer held firm, its shield a tapestry of sound and light that turned back the tide of darkness. In that moment, I felt a connection that transcended the boundaries of reality, an understanding of the power of harmony, the strength of unity against the chaos of the void. The predator, its hunger thwarted, shuddered one last time before retreating into the depths, leaving silence in its wake. The survivors erupted in a chorus of relief and gratitude, their forms brightening with newfound hope. Vala approached, their voice filled with warmth. "You have given us more than just survival. You have shown us the power of connection." As we stood on the edge of this world, I realized that our journey was not just about finding a way home, but about embracing the lives and stories we touched along the way. Each world, each decision, was a thread in the grand tapestry of the multiverse. With the predator banished and our bond with this world forged, we prepared to continue our exploration. The Nexus awaited, shimmering with possibilities, ready to guide us to new realms and challenges. But for now, amidst the echoes of our melody, we savored the moment, a reminder that even in the darkest corners of existence, light could find a way to shine. And so, with hearts full of promise, we stepped back onto the Wanderer, ready to sail into the unknown once more. The universe stretched out before us, vast and full of wonder, each star a beacon of stories yet to be told. The advent Yore was just beginning, and the path ahead glittered with the promise of discovery. Part 7, Whispers of Time. As we departed the crystalline world, the Wanderer cut through the ether with a newfound purpose. The hum of its engines, a soothing reminder of continuity in our ever-shifting journey. The Nexus had become a trusted ally, its pathways like a map of stars etched into our consciousness, guiding us through the multiverse's labyrinth. Tessa lounged in her chair, her boots propped on the dashboard, fingers tapping a rhythmic tattoo against the console. "Where to next, Captain?" she asked, though her eyes were still glued to the readouts, a testament to her unflagging vigilance. "Let's see what the Nexus has in store for us," I replied, spinning my chair to face the central console. I engaged the interface, watching as possibilities unfurled like the wings of some cosmic butterfly, each one a vibrant, living thing. Our choice was a realm that shimmered with potential, a place where time itself seemed to ripple and weave patterns unseen. It was an uncharted anomaly, even to the Nexus, its mysteries hidden beneath layers of temporal distortion. "Curious," Shaw remarked, peering over my shoulder. "A place where time is not a fixed river but a sea with tides and eddies. It could be dangerous." "Or enlightening," Tessa added, her eyes alight with curiosity. "We might see the past, glimpse the future." With the course set, we activated the engines and plunged into the anomaly, the fabric of reality bending around us like a dream. There was a fleeting sensation of falling, not down but through, a sensation of passing through layers of existence, each one a whisper of moments lived and yet to come. We emerged into a landscape that defied chronology. The sky was a tapestry of shifting hues, the horizon awash in colors that bled and blended like the strokes of an artist's brush. The ground beneath us was both old and new, a patchwork of ancient ruins and vibrant life, intertwining in an eternal dance. As we sat down, we noticed that time here was a fluid thing, not confined to a linear path but swirling in eddies and spirals, each current a moment unfrozen from the flow. Here, past and future mingled with the present, a symphony of experiences waiting to be unraveled. "Careful," I warned, stepping cautiously from the safety of the Wanderer. "Time's a fickle friend here." Our surroundings were alive with echoes, impressions of those who had walked these lands before us. Ghostly figures moved through the ruins, their forms translucent and dreamlike, each one a fragment of history reliving its tale. "Not every day you get to walk through living history," Tessa said, her voice hushed with wonder. We explored the ruins, guided by the whispers of the past. The structures were a kaleidoscope of architecture, each style a signature of an era long forgotten. And woven into the stone were images, depictions of beings who had once called this place home, their stories etched into the fabric of time. As we moved deeper into the anomaly, the whispers grew stronger, a chorus of voices that seemed to reach out, eager to share their secrets. It was intoxicating and overwhelming, a reminder of the weight of history and the fleeting nature of existence. But amidst the echoes, one voice called out, clear and urgent, a plea for understanding that pierced the veil of confusion. It was a voice unlike the others, a presence that resonated with an awareness of the anomaly's true nature. "Do you hear that?" I asked, turning to Tessa and Shaw. Their expressions confirmed they did, a solemn acknowledgement of the gravity of its call. We followed the voice to a nexus point, a convergence of time's threads where the air shimmered with potential. Here, a being waited, their form both part of the anomaly and distinct, a guardian of this temporal realm. "You've come," the guardian said, their voice a harmonious blend of time's many layers. "I am Avid, keeper of the time stream." "What is this place?" Tessa asked, her curiosity burning brightly. "This is the tidal zone where time flows freely, unbound by linearity," Avid explained. It is a place of learning and reflection, where those who wander may see their paths not as lines, but as intricate webs. "Why did you call us here?" I inquired, sensing the weight of purpose in Avit's presence. "The time stream is in flux, disrupted by forces seeking to manipulate its flow," Avit replied, their expression grave. "You have traversed many paths. Your presence here could restore balance." The implications were staggering, a task that required understanding time itself, a challenge that could unravel or restore the balance between worlds. Yet, amidst the enormity, I felt a sense of rightness, a certainty that our journey had led us here for a reason. "We'll do what we can," I promised, determination strengthening my voice. "Show us where to start." Avit's approval was a gentle caress of warmth, a nod that transcended time and space. Together, we would delve into the mystery, confronting the forces that sought to twist the tidal zone to their will. As we prepared to face the challenge, the time stream whispered its stories around us, a reminder that every moment, every choice was a thread in the vast tapestry of existence. And as we stood on the precipice of discovery, I felt the pulse of the multiverse, a heartbeat that echoed with the promise of new beginnings. The adventure continued, and we were ready to step boldly into the currents of time. Part 8: Currents of Memory. In the tidal zone, time was a living entity, its currents a dance of possibilities that wove through the tapestry of our existence. Avit, the guardian, guided us through a landscape that defied the usual constraints of reality, each step a journey through the ages. The sky shifted above us, a canvas of swirling colors that painted the air with a sense of both urgency and tranquility. The ruins around us whispered their secrets, each stone a page in the endless book of time. "We must find the source of the disruption," Avit explained, their voice weaving through the air like a melody. "It lies deep within the heart of the time stream, where the threads of reality converge." Our path led us into a vast canyon, its walls etched with symbols and glyphs that flickered between forms, a language of time left by those who had walked these paths before us. The air was alive with the hum of energy, an invisible current that tugged at the edges of perception. "Feels like we're walking through a live wire," Tessa remarked, her hand brushing against the canyon wall. Her touch sent ripples through the symbols, each one lighting up in response to her presence. "These are memories," Shaw said, his gaze tracing the patterns with reverence. "Echoes of those who shaped this place." As we moved deeper into the canyon, the whispers grew stronger, a cacophony of voices that echoed around us. Yet amidst the chaos, there was a veiled harmony, a pattern just beyond understanding, a reminder that chaos and order were two sides of the same coin. At the canyon's heart lay a chamber, its entrance flanked by statues of beings from countless eras, their visages serene and knowing. The chamber itself was a nexus of time, a place where the past, present, and future coalesced into a single, pulsating entity. "We must attune ourselves to the flow," Avit instructed, stepping forward to stand at the center of the chamber. "Only then can we see the truth of the disruption." Tessa and I joined Avit, our senses open to the currents swirling around us. The air was thick with energy, a tangible web that wrapped us in its embrace. I felt the time stream brush against my mind, its touch a torrent of images and emotions that threatened to overwhelm. But as we attuned, the chaos gave way to clarity. The chamber revealed itself as a living map, threads of light tracing the flow of time across the multiverse. And there, at the center of the web, was a dark knot, an anomaly that pulsed with a discordant rhythm. "There it is," I said, pointing to the knot, "the source of the disruption." "It's a fracture," Tessa observed, her eyes narrowing as she focused on the anomaly. Something S trying to pull time apart, reshape it. Can we repair it? I asked, feeling the weight of the task settle over us. We must, Avit replied, their voice resonant with determination. The balance of the time stream depends on it. With Avit's guidance, we focused our energies on the knot. Our thoughts and intentions merged, forming a bridge across the rift. It was a delicate task, like suturing a wound without disrupting the intricacies of the web. As we worked, the chamber filled with a symphony of echoes, memories of those who had safeguarded the time stream across the ages. Their presence bolstered our resolve, a reminder that we were part of a legacy that transcended time itself. Yet just as we began to unravel the knot, a presence made itself known, a ripple of intent that surged through the chamber, disrupting the harmony we sought to restore. The air crackled with tension, a reminder that we were not alone in our endeavor. A shadow coalesced at the chamber's edge, its form indistinct yet menacing. It was a manifestation of the disruption, an entity intent on maintaining the fracture for its own ends. Hold fast, Avit urged, their voice a beacon of calm amidst the storm. We must not falter. Together, we projected a shield of light and sound, a barrier that pushed back against the shadow's encroachment. It was a battle of wills, a struggle against the darkness that sought to unravel the fabric of reality. The shadow writhed and twisted, its form a maelstrom of fury and defiance. But as we held our ground, the balance slowly began to shift, the knot loosening under our combined efforts. With a final surge, the shadow shrieked and dissipated, its essence scattered into the ether. The knot unraveled, its threads weaving back into the time stream, restoring the harmony that had been disrupted. As the chamber quieted, a sense of peace settled over us, a reminder of the power of unity and purpose in the face of chaos. The time stream sang around us, a triumphant melody that echoed across the ages. Avit's gaze met ours, their expression one of gratitude and respect. You have restored what was lost. The time stream flows once more, unbroken. We stood there, basking in the glow of our accomplishment, a reminder that even in the of adversity, hope and determination could light the way. The journey was far from over, but for now we had forged a new path, one that embraced the currents of memory and the promise of the future. As we prepared to leave the tidal zone, I felt the pulse of the universe within me, a dance of time and possibility that promised endless adventure. The multiverse awaited, and with Tessa and Shaw by my side, I was ready to face whatever lay beyond the horizon. Part 9, Reflections in the Depths ***. With the harmony of the time stream restored, we bid farewell to the tidal zone, its echoes of past and future still whispering in our ears as we returned to the Wanderer. The ship welcomed us with its familiar hum, a constant in our ever-shifting reality. As we prepared to set course for the next leg of our journey, the Nexus offered up a new path, one laced with intrigue and the promise of discovery. "What's next on the cosmic itinerary?" Tessa asked, leaning back in her chair, the glow of the console reflecting in her eyes. "The Nexus suggests an anomaly at the edge of known space," I replied, examining the data. "A place where the fabric of reality is thin, where reflections become gateways." "Sounds like a place for philosophers and thrill-seekers," Shaw added, his voice tinged with amusement. "Or perhaps both." The route ahead shimmered like liquid silver, leading us towards an isolated region where the stars themselves seemed to dance to a different rhythm. With our course set, we engaged the engines and slipped into the void, the transition smooth and seamless. As we traversed the expanse, the environment around us began to shift, the edges blurring like a dream half remembered. The stars grew brighter, their light casting ethereal patterns across the wanderer's hull. We arrived at a realm that seemed suspended between worlds, a place where the sky mirrored the ground, reflecting an endless cascade of images and possibilities. It was like stepping into a hall of mirrors, each surface revealing an aspect of reality both familiar and strange. "Welcome to the Reflection Zone," Shaw announced, peering out at the myriad images with a mix of awe and fascination. The land was a mosaic of crystalline surfaces, each one capturing and refracting light in a dance of colors. The air shimmered with an electric charge, a feeling of anticipation that set my senses tingling. As we disembarked, the ground beneath our feet felt alive, resonating with energy that seemed to recognize our presence. Reflections flickered around us, showing not just our images, but scenes from other worlds, other lives. "These aren't just reflections," Tessa observed, her gaze fixed on a nearby surface. "They're windows into alternate realities." Each reflection was a story, a glimpse into what might have been or could still be. I saw myself in different forms, making choices that diverged from my own path, each one a thread in the tapestry of existence. "Fascinating," Shaw murmured, lost in a scene where he walked worlds untouched by our journey, his expression contemplative. But amidst the wonder, there was a hint of unease, a reminder that we were not merely observers in this place. The reflections grew more insistent, their images shifting to reveal something deeper, a thread of connection that ran through them all. One reflection stood out, its surface rippling as if touched by an unseen hand. It showed a landscape torn asunder, a world caught in the throes of upheaval. It was a warning, a vision of potential disaster that threatened to spill into our reality. "Something's wrong," I said, reaching out to touch the surface. The moment my fingers brushed against it, a pulse of energy surged through me, a message carried on the currents of possibility. The vision unfolded, revealing an entity that moved through the reflections, a being of shadow that sought to disrupt the balance between worlds. It was a predator of a different sort, one that thrived on chaos and despair. "The balance must be maintained," Avit's voice echoed in my mind, a reminder of the task at hand. "We need to stabilize the reflections," Tessa said, her expression focused. "If this thing breaks through, it could unravel everything." With a shared nod, we set to work, channeling the energy of the reflection zone to reinforce the barriers between worlds. The reflections shimmered around us, responding to our efforts with a symphony of light and sound. The entity sensed our actions, its form coalescing into a maelstrom of discord that lashed out with fury. But we held firm, our resolve a bulwark against the tide of chaos. As we fought to restore the balance, the reflections revealed their true nature, a network of interconnected realities, each one a vital part of the whole. It was a reminder that every action, every choice, resonated across the multiverse, shaping the fabric of existence. With a final surge of energy, we sealed the breach, the entity's howl of frustration echoing through the reflection zone before it vanished into the ether. The reflections calmed, their surfaces returning to a tranquil state of harmony. We stood amidst the aftermath, a sense of accomplishment settling over us like a gentle rain. The reflection zone had tested us, revealing not only the fragility of existence but the strength of unity. As we prepared to leave, the reflections offered one last vision, an image of the wanderer Sai. Ling through the stars, its path uncharted but filled with promise. Together we stepped back onto the ship, ready to continue our journey through the vast tapestry of the multiverse. The adventure awaited, and with each new world we added another thread to the story, a tale of discovery, resilience, and the indomitable spirit of exploration. Part 10: The Silent Accord. As the wanderer sailed away from the reflection zone, I couldn't shake the feeling of reverberations lingering behind us, a reminder that the threads of reality had been tested and mended once more. The multiverse felt like an intricately tuned instrument, each string resonating with stories and the echoes of our passage. We drifted into a region known only by its absence, a void where signals faded and light dared not linger. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath, their usual brilliance dimmed to mere whispers against the vast, dark canvas. "What draws us here?" Tessa asked, her voice subdued as if not to disturb the uncanny stillness around us. "The Nexus has flagged this area," Shaw replied, consulting the archive of possibilities the ancient guide continually provided. Mysteries dwell in the silent spaces, waiting to be heard. The wanderer moved with a grace that belied its old frame, navigating the subtle tides of the void. Our destination revealed itself not through sight or sound, but through a sense, an instinctual awareness of something profound yet elusive. We arrived at the edge of an immense, shadowed structure, its architecture organic and flowing, like the bones of some colossal creature that had settled into the emptiness between stars. The ship's sensors struggled to make sense of the readings, the data fluctuating between incoherence and clarity. "This is it," I said, feeling the pulse of energy within my bones. The Silent Accord, a place whispered about in ancient tales. The Accord was legendary, a structure rumored to be an archive of knowledge so vast it could transcend time itself. But its guardians were said to be as enigmatic as the void, communicating not with words but through the resonance of thought and emotion. We descended into the heart of the structure, its interior a labyrinth of curving passages and open chambers. The walls glowed with a faint bioluminescence, casting soft shadows that danced like specters at the edge of perception. As we ventured further, a sense of presence settled over us, an awareness that we were not alone. The guardians of the Accord, unseen but felt, reached out with tendrils of curiosity and contemplation, their thoughts brushing against our own in an ancient greeting. "We seek knowledge," Shaw spoke into the silence, his voice a calm ripple in the tranquil sea of thought, "understanding of the universe's many facets." The guardians responded with an upwelling of images and sensations, a tapestry of moments gathered from across the ages. Each thread told a story, a civilization's rise and fall, the birth of stars, the quiet passing of worlds. It was humbling and overwhelming, a reminder of the brevity of life in contrast to the endless cycle of existence. "Look," Tessa pointed, her voice filled with awe. In the midst of the swirling visions, a beacon of pulsating light appeared, a repository of focused intent, offering guidance and answers to those who sought them. We approached the beacon, the air around it charged with a profound serenity. As I reached out, the light enveloped us, a gentle embrace that transported our consciousness to a different place, a realm of shared awareness where thoughts became reality. Here in this mental space, the guardians took form, appearing as swirling vortices of light and color, each one a node in the vast network of the Accord. They imparted wisdom through the ebb and flow of their presence, a symphony of insights that transcended words. "The essence of creation," Shaw murmured, absorbing the flow of information. "It's a map of the cosmos itself, each point a story waiting to be told." But among the tales was a warning, a shadow creeping at the edges of awareness. The guardians showed us a vision of imbalance, a fracture forming within the fabric of the multiverse, threatening to unravel the connections that bound realities together. "We must act," Tessa said, the urgency in her voice echoing the gravity of the threat. "This is bigger than just one world, it's everything." The guardians concurred, their light intensifying with resolve. They shared with us a path, a way to confront the growing darkness and restore the harmony of existence. As the vision faded, we returned to the accord, the knowledge we had gained imprinted within us. The structure hummed with a renewed purpose, the guardians' gratitude a silent melody that echoed in our minds. Our path is clear, I said, looking at Tessa and Shaw, their expressions reflecting the same determination that surged within me. We have the means to face the darkness, to protect the delicate weave of the multiverse. With the Accord's blessing, we return to the Wanderer, our hearts and minds full of the lessons learned and the promise of what lay ahead. The void beckoned once more, a canvas upon which we would paint our next adventure. The multiverse awaited, rich with stories and challenges that would test our resolve and expand our understanding. As we set our course for the next destination, I felt the power of the silent accord within us, a testament to the strength found in unity and the courage to embrace the unknown. Together we would face the coming storm, armed with the wisdom of ages and the spirit of exploration that had carried us this far. The journey continued, and with each step we wove another thread into the endless tapestry of existence.